This is actually ATP Future Vision on obesity. It's not just obesity, because what I'm looking into anorexia, a person that's anorexic, or a person that's obese. Most people would say a person that's obese is overweight, or they're too fat, or anorexia, a person is too small, too skinny in a sense. They need more protein inside of their body. So we are going to build awareness to alleviate these discomfort that's within the body. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, myself, I'm not a doctor, and welcome to the University of Cosmic Awareness. I happen to be your boy ATP, that's Aidenthepayden. What ATP is mitochondria. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cells. Each and every cell needs energy to not just maintain homeostasis, but to do their regular day job, whatever it is that their job is. For instance, I would like to give a shout out to the heart, the liver, the lungs, the kidneys. I would also like to give a shout out to the central nervous system, the cardiovascular system, the respiratory system, the immune system, the lymphatic system, the integumentary system, the musculatory system, let's say the excretory system, the lymphatic system. Ladies and gentlemen, let's just give a shout out to each and every system that's currently within the body. I'm a person, what I do, I would find two things that I like, and I would combine them. When you combine something, you're polymerization, like, is that how you say it? Polymerization, or to put two things together, you're adding two things or two substance, or in a sense you can use the word fortified. So we will be doing stuff of that nature, and in a sense, like, fortified could basically be to transform something, morph it into something different. And in the medical terminology, we would basically say glycosidic linkage, or we can also use glycosidic bond. Now, that's exactly what's happening in most human body out there, because they don't understand the concept and what, in a sense, monosaccharide is. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, let's break it down. Let's do this. So I had a conversation with my higher self. In order to reach to your higher self, to exit this realm where I'm in this reality, it takes a lot of education, dedication, meditation. Not just that too. You have to be disciplined and dedicated to the task that you're in a sense studying. Let's say you're studying and concentrated on the duodenum that's located within the gastrointestinal system. So now you're going to be studying, you're going to put a lot of dedication into studying what's going on with the duodenum, or what the duodenum is. You would give your time and your undivided attention towards learning about the duodenum. That's how you would, in a sense, reach to your higher self, when you're concentrating on just literally one specific thing or organ within the body. Now, this is what my higher self told me, right? Because you have to tap back into nature. So you're actually telling me that there's literally, ladies and gentlemen, 6 different types of sugar out there in the world, right? And depending on these 6 different types of sugar, it's actually gonna, let each and every human being on the planet achieve homeostasis. And this is how it begins. Because we would normally have glucose. So we have glucose, fructose, we have galactose, we have sucrose, we have maltose, and we have lactose. Wait. All right. Let's reverse that, right? So we have glucose, fructose, galactose, sucrose, maltose, and lactose. Is that how you say it? All right. Let's begin. We're gonna dive into this. So, if a person is literally suffering from obesity, or if a person is literally suffering from anorexia, let's crack the code on that note. Me, adenosine triphosphate, at this point, ATP, the University of Cosmic Awareness. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, I am not a doctor. I do my research in order to realize that my name itself, ATP, is one of the only way of alleviating certain things within the body, because I'm a nucleoside. I'm also a nucleotide, right? I have the ability to turn into ATP and ADP. We're gonna get into all of this. Like, this is biology and chemistry. I'm a person, I love biology and I love chemistry, so I put those two together. When you combine something, you're adding two things together, and this is what I've realized. Because if we have monosaccharide, which is one thing, monosaccharide consists of glucose, fructose, and galactose, right? So monosaccharide alone consists of glucose, fructose, and galactose. Wow. All right, no problem. So now we have glucose, fructose, and galactose. We're gonna put that on the side. And then we have sucrose, maltose, and lactose. Those are three other sugars. So we have three sugars over here, and then we got another three sugars over here. Now, let's take the glucose, right? We're gonna take a glucose and a glucose, and now we're gonna make a maltose. With a glucose and a glucose makes a maltose. Now we're gonna take a glucose and a fructose, and now we're gonna make a sucrose. Now we're gonna take a glucose and a glucose and a galactose, and now we're gonna make a lactose. So now that we have 6 different sugars out there, and we all know how to make 6 different sugar, I'm gonna start it over. I don't know if I was doing it too fast. So we're gonna take a glucose, and we're gonna make a maltose. We're gonna take a glucose and a fructose, and then we're gonna make a sucrose. We're gonna take a glucose and a galactose, and we're gonna make a lactose. And with the glucose, fructose, and the galactose, that's fine. Ladies and gentlemen, that's monosaccharide. You need that. That's your simple sugar. You need your simple sugar, monosaccharide, to obtain or achieve a homeostasis. Now, sucrose, maltose, and lactose, that's disaccharide. You don't need the disaccharide inside of your body, because when it comes to disaccharide, the duodenum, when that goes down and is breaking down, metabolism breaks down in the duodenum and not inside of the gastrointestinal system. So when that breaks down in the duodenum is going to send that disaccharide properties inside of the blood, and that's what brings obesity. Well, that's one of the ways, but that's also the that's 90% accurate, because you can also, be obese prior to how do you say this, genetics, DNA and DNA of your parents through zygote, that transferring of RNA and DNA is going to be within the child. So in a sense, if your mom suffers from diabetes, there's a slight chance that if you intake a lot of disaccharide properties in your life, there's a possibility that you may inherit diabetes, prior to your mom or your, one of your parents having it. And I'm looking into this obesity, and I'm like, the only reason why people tends to be obese, well, 90% accurate, is because they have too much disaccharide properties inside of their body. And it's not just that too, because I don't want to lose anyone on this video. Like I said, I'm not a doctor, but it's not just disaccharide properties out there. So if I just broke down what monosaccharide is and how, to create disaccharide, remember, ladies and gentlemen, we're not getting into polysaccharide. We are not getting into monomers. We are not getting into polymers. We are not getting into those complex sugar. Because if we should literally get into those complex sugar, remember, to me, all of this is lesser magic. The English language is actually a spell. And my higher consciousness tells me that it's a lesser magic. And we are going to dissect and decode it. Because polysaccharide, anything poly, it's like a polygon, mathematic. Polygon, multiple chains, right? Like, I'm speaking of multiple chains. We don't need multiple chains of sugar glycosidic linkage bond inside of our body. Because our body is made up of I'm gonna tell y'all, our body is made up of trillions of cells. I'm talking about like prokaryotic cells and even eukaryotic cells, and like these are cells with like single unit structure and cells with double unit structure, thus create a glycosidic bond. And it's not just that too, like some of these things we have microbiotas, like bacteria, not just bacteria, parasites, worms inside of for instance, like if a person has a little bubble rash on their skin, which is the integumentary system, like that rash, it could be some form of bacteria, or let's say a fungus, because most skin rashes on the body tends to be fungal. Now a person could get certain fungal rashes, in a sense, right? Watch this. In a sense, from their environment, or from their animal, which is now like that's a zoonation. So they could get from their environment, their animal, or the dirt, the earth. If you lay in the earth, like the dirt has lots of microscopic bacteria, and that will seeps into the skin because the skin has pores, right? So I'm looking into these things, which is actually lesser magic. That's what society would use to let people not understand, but you have to reach to your higher self in order to dissect and decode the lesser magic. All it is the English language. It's a spell, ladies and gentlemen. They're gonna be using words like, okay, glycosidic bond or glycosidic linkage within the body, or the hemoglobin. Oh wow, anything that's glycosidic bond is like double more than one chain, more than one link in, let's say in sugar, for instance, and now that's within the blood. So if that's literally within the hemoglobin, now you already know where that breaks down. It breaks down inside of the duodenum, not inside of the gastrointestinal system. So when we dissect and decode these things, and we know that ATP is considered consists of energy, that's mitochondria. You know, some of these cells and within the body, including ATP too, is gonna go through, like, we need, ladies and gentlemen, us as Homo sapien needs to go through anaerobic respiration. We need to go through aerobic respiration, or even fermentation. And how we go about these things is like, remember, guys, right? Remember, so the body itself, we're gonna get into everything. We get into everything because this is biology and chemistry fused together, right? So we get into everything. Remember, like, it all starts with the sun. Like the sun, I don't know if y'all can see it. Photosynthesis, photon energy, like that's a form of radiation. So the body would absorb that, you know, and the body is going to create like four different things through the process of like ATP. Like, this is crazy. So we're gonna have like a nucleic acid, you know, like, bro, we're gonna have like nucleic acid in the body, we're gonna have carbs in the body, we're gonna have like protein in the body. Remember, the body consists of carb, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen, right? And when you dissect and decode that, you're gonna know that in order to create some of these glycosidic bond, you know, you have to first intake carbs, right? So like they would use that as a base. So this is why I'm saying, like, I'm not knocking anyone for taking or intaking a lot of carbs in their diet intake. Now, the body cannot survive on just like carbs alone, just so you know that. So they would use like carbs, just like add H2O to that. You know, the formula H2O represent water. You know, the body's like, most of what I am and what you are, we are consist of lots of fluid inside of the body, right? So when you dissect and you decode all of these things, you're gonna know that you need ATP inside of the body for cellular function and even, let's say, cellular respiration, you know. And cellular respiration and all of these things plays a long role with the respiratory system, and the respiratory system plays a long role, or should I say it's an attached, oh my gosh, I love these dogs behind me, sorry about that. Anyway, the respiratory system plays a long role with the circulatory system. So if a person out there is literally obese, we are going to find ways of alleviating that, because obesity is just too much glucose built up, in a sense, that's transferred and turns into lipids, you know, like underneath the skins. Cut disaccharide properties out of your diet. Concentrate on just like normal monosaccharide. I would say 60% glucose and 40% fructose. When I say that, like, your glucose is normally going to be your vegetables, but the type of vegetables that you would now intake is your leafy green vegetables, and now that's going to help to break down certain lipids inside of the gastrointestinal system. It's going to now produce a different type of sugar within the body. It's break down, like, simple sugar break down complex sugar. That's what I'm trying to say, right? If you take some of your hair, well, I can't really say that, because I think that only works for black people, you know, because my hair falls, let's say, you know, my hair falls on the ground. I could use my hair to take my hair up, like, you know, use my hair to touch the other hair, and it just attracts it, you know, like a magnet, you know. So what I'm trying to say is, like, simple sugar breaks down complex sugar. You know, it attracts to it like a little bond, you know, and breaks it down. You know, it's like, that's too complex, and we're breaking that down with simple monosaccharide. If you have something inside of your body that's complex, the only way to break it down, you have to go back to Mother Nature, which is the normal, simple sugar that you would need. And when I speak on normal, simple sugar, it's like your normal food that's on the planet. You would go out there and you would eat a mango, you would eat a banana, you would eat an apple. Apples is very good on getting rid of toxin and metabolic waste within the body. Me, ATP, the University of Cosmic Awareness, advise the general public to pack up on apples. Apples is very good. Apples is very good for your health, you know. But I'm looking into this anorexia and this obesity thing. The only reason why you're anorexic is because you're robbing yourself of minerals and nutrients. And if you don't understand that you're robbing yourself of minerals and nutrients, the pathogens that are inside of your body likes to infest in the environment that they are in. So whenever you would take something by the GI tract and now it's inside of the gastrointestinal system, this is what happened. Before that food could actually go towards the duodenum, these pathogens would be eating that. They would be robbing you of your minerals and your nutrients. So a person that's suffering from anorexia, they literally needs to cleanse their entire system, because they have pathogens that's blocking neurotransmitters that the brain would send neurotransmitters throughout the whole body. And now, in a sense, I'm going to actually add this, because your cell surface receptors is like literally embedded in the plasma membrane, which is the hemoglobin, right? So if that's embedded inside of the hemoglobin, remember, whatever goes inside of the hemoglobin via the duodenum, that is being blocked prior to pathogens. So this is what I would advise a person that's actually suffering from anorexia to do. You could literally take these two herbs. We could do this naturally, and we are going to do this naturally, you know, because you could take these two herbs, and these two herbs that I'm gonna list. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, I'm not a doctor, you know, but I just like find ways, you know, to alleviate each and every discomfort that a person may be that a person may be that a person may have, you know, like going on inside of their body. So one of these herbs, we have our regular cat's claw. With the cat's claw, that's going to aid and, you know, like try to, in a sense, kill each and every pathogens that's within the body, that's blocking the body. But that alone is not strong enough. So we would also add the black walnut halt to that, and we would use a cat's claw and the black walnut halt together to make it a little bit more stronger. And when you add those two together, you know, that's going to alleviate whatever discomfort that a person, you know, like this anorexic is having, and then him or her is naturally going to start partaking and eating more intake, a fatty intake of, like, let's say fish, you know, that has omega-3 inside of it. Not just that, lots of fruits and vegetables, but mostly leafy green. You know, him or her should be okay. Now we're gonna move on to the person that's obese. Now, for the person that's obese, you have to understand that you actually have a lot of lipids, you know, like underneath the skin, you know, even underneath your organs too, you know. And lipids tends to be fat. What fat is, you know, like it tends to be like a lot of, like, let's say, oil built up in some form of I can't really explain lipids with fat together, perhaps filled with a little bit of mucus, you know. We could break that down, you know. And it's not just that too, because that person would normally be actually suffering from this thing that's called putrefaction within the gastrointestinal system. And putrefaction plays a long role, because now putrefaction is like you're not passing out enough bile. you know, and this is what we're going to do, because the excretory system is actually responsible for that. Now, if the excretory system isn't working correctly, and that is prior to too much lipids and putrefaction going on inside of the gastrointestinal system. So what we're going to do for the person that's suffering from obesity, you know, first of all, they have to go on a diet. You know, they have to start eating a lot of lots of greens, right? Lots of apple as well as dragon fruit. So with the dragon fruit is going to actually add immune system, or should I say B blood cells back inside of the immune system, right? So when you have more B blood cell back inside of the immune system, now you have a better fighting force to aid and to fight and to break down whatever it is that you're trying to break down. Remember, the better your immune system is, the better for you to fight this obesity, because now that you have more B blood cell, you know, now the only thing that you're gonna need now is more ATP in order to make that work. So this is where the dragon fruits is gonna come in. So so a person would normally take that's obesity, a person that's actually suffering from obese now. So you would normally take eat lots of dragon fruits and lots of apples, because apples actually cuts belly fat. It's not just that too. You know, the apple also is going to aid by releasing and removing toxin, and in a sense, I'm going to use this word, certain forms of carcinogen, you know, that's throughout the whole entire body. And for the person that's obese, what they could also do, they could eat a lot of fennel. They could eat a lot of fennel while they take this one herb, and this one herb is called the wormwood. The wormwood is going to work as a diuretic inside of the gastrointestinal system. And I'm sorry to say this for the person that's suffering from obesity, but him or her tends to have at least, let's say, maybe 15 to 20 pounds of fecal matter inside of their large intestine. And with the wormwood, now all of that built up is the reason why that person will be suffering from putrefaction. So now with the wormwood is going to alleviate that and work as a diuretic, and now you're going to be using the bathroom constantly, getting rid of all of those pathogens and cleaning the entire colon, and that's going to produce, for the person that's suffering from obese, that's going to produce a better, how should I say this? That's going to clear the gastrointestinal system, and now you're going to be able to, you know, eat properly and, you know, like concentrate on your fruits and your vegetables, mostly dark leafy green properties inside of your diet intake. So this is for people that suffer from obesity, as well as people that suffer from anorexia. The ones that suffer from anorexia, remember, I already put the sugar contents out there, what monosaccharide is, how to break down and see and identify certain types of sugar. So if you're suffering from anorexia, I'm not saying that all of these sugars is going to be good for you. No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, if you take these two herbs, you're going to flush your entire system, and now you're going to be able to normally eat and gain more pounds. And those two herbs is your regular cat's claw and your black walnut hull. I'm not saying that y'all could take my advice. You should just take my advice, because we live in this world, and I'm not in this alone. We're in this thing that's called life together. So each and every person out there, don't just sit down and take my advice. Go and do your own scientific research. And, you know, I'm not saying to literally just use Google, because Google isn't the only search engine. But please look up what I'm saying. You know, use your black walnut hull as well as your cat's claw for the anorexia, and eat normal, And the person that's suffering from obesity, what you're going to do, you're going to take your wormwood, and that's going to work as a diuretic inside of the gastrointestinal system, and now it's going to flush out each and everything that's blocking and clogging up your arteries, which is fecal matter in a sense. Now you're going to concentrate on dark leafy green properties as well as fruits. Two of those fruits that I've mentioned is your dragon fruit, packed with ability to increase the immune system, as well as you're going to be eating a lot of apples. See, I'm not telling the obesity person to take the cat's claw, because cat's claw is also high on boosting immunity. You know, the reason why, you know, is because that person doesn't have an immunity problem. That person is dealing with lipids, which tends to be fat, and most of these fat is underneath the organs as well as underneath the skin. So this is why we would eat a lot of apples, dragon fruit, and take the wormwood to get rid of pathogens that's blocking certain neurotransmitter. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, remember, me, ATP, adenosine triphosphate, I am not a doctor. On that note, I'm out.